Hello, and welcome to a preachy episode of the Drywall Podcast. With us today, a newcomer to the industry, Jonathan Dansby, out of Fort Worth, Texas, joins us to discuss branching out on his own. And we also discuss his degree in Christian theology, cussing, and maybe getting fired from a preaching job. So fast forward, they fired you.
Wrap that up. They said, I'm 2 minutes in. We have this meeting. They say something's got to change, and it's got to change quick. And then they fire me 2 weeks later because I guess it wasn't quick enough.
Sure. Okay.
Change. So I hadn't even hit my 90-day mark, and they nixed me.
Bummer.
Yeah. So we moved back to the Fort Worth area.
We also discuss his employment for a franchise called The Patch Boys, his beginnings doing patches, and we also do a deep dive into Fresco Harmony sales and also how to market Fresco Harmony. My name is Nick Harmon, and I am the host of the Drywall Podcast. And for this month, the month of May, I'm very excited to announce our sponsor, TechDry Tools. TechDry Tools is USA designed, manufactured, and assembled in Omaha, Nebraska. Their lock design allows you to choose from 3 different size blades that fit right in your pocket. Follow TechDry on TikTok for lots of chances to win free swag. And also keep your eye out for new and innovative products coming from TechDry as well. Guests of the Drywall Podcast will receive a free TechDry tool along with lots of other cool swag, compliments of CSR. You can find just about everything you need that is drywall related at CSR in Toronto, or you can go to csrbuilding.com. Right now, though, we need to get into this awesome episode, the 51st episode of the Drywall Podcast. Let's do it. We have Jonathan Dansby. Yeah? Jonathan Dansby?
Dansby, yeah.
Jonathan,
more like a Z.
Dansby.
Yeah, so pronounce it more like a Z instead of
S. Like the great Dansby.
That's right.
As opposed to the great Gatsby. And then out of Fort Worth, Texas, Jonathan is, do you prefer Jonathan or John?
Jonathan.
Jonathan is a year into the trade, so to speak. He's, how old are you?
I'm 30.
30 years young. So on the younger side of the spectrum of drywall finishers in the trade. And you called me up. You had been listening to the Drywall Podcast. Is that true?
That's right. Yeah.
That's how you found me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. And then you said you Googled it or you were searching in podcast for like drywall, and I popped up.
Yeah. Just got this harebrained idea. Hey, I wonder if there are any decent drywall podcasts on. And
interesting.
Looked for a drywall podcast. Here's the first one. So it's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Hit on it, and then
we'll try out this kook
from the very. Listen from the very beginning.
Cool.
So I think I'm all caught up.
Crazy. So, and you got sort of hooked. You enjoyed them, I guess. In other words,
I did enjoy them. And something you've said that you've tried to do is something I really appreciated, is having younger folks on, older folks on, folks in the middle, trying to get a range of experiences. And I think that's what I really appreciate most about it, is people from all over the place. It's funny, you've joked about this before. Rather high number of Canadians coming on the podcast. Which I think is hilarious.
Love me some Canadians, man.
But it's great because there is that kind of cross-pollination.
Yeah.
between regions and union, non-union.
Correct.
Um, I didn't even know.
Global,
So
dude.
yeah,
Global now. We just had Gary from Australia, and I'm gonna have a guy on from England next. And
okay,
then we
cool.
had Pia. Pia's originally from, he's in Canada, but he's originally from Brazil.
Yeah.
So I really want to start like, just all over the globe. No borders. There's no borders on the Drywall podcast, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, and that's what I think I like most about it.
Yeah, yeah. So the reason that Jonathan piqued my interest was because you were calling, sort of inquiring about branching out on your own. Maybe you were inspired by the podcast. Maybe you're like, I don't want to work for these people. Maybe you're kind of hearing what some of the other uh, um, interviewees on the podcast were talking about, and you're inspired and you're like, hey, I can do that. I've got some skills around drywall finishing. Now it's primarily finishing or hanging.
So really my skill set is patching. That's kind of
Okay.
the niche that I've been in for the last year. Um, yeah, I think you're right. Part of my interest in reaching out to you was this sort of all these things that come together. Listening to the podcast for a couple months now, wanting to try to step out and do more things on my own.
Yeah.
Because I did see that there was, you can. I'm just doing the numbers, and if
Yeah.
you work hourly, you're pretty capped
Yes.
on what you can earn. So your earning potential is capped.
But
But that
but
doesn't mean
you
that you're
have
learning.
you have security though. There's there
Absolutely.
there is advantages to working hourly, and also even in the union, you've got
Right.
benefits and security. They set the standard and they pay really well. So
Yeah.
there's definitely different schools of thought.
And I don't even know if there's a union in my area. Maybe there is.
I don't
But
know.
I don't know. I haven't heard about it.
I think the wages, like Albuquerque, the wages are pretty suppressed where you're at. That's what I've heard. It's
Yeah.
like,
No,
yeah,
I think that's right.
drywallers are getting beat up over there. Yeah.
Right. And so the thing for me when I'm looking at the numbers is okay, if you the more people you insert into the equation of people who are getting paid, the more you have to chop it up and divide it up. Um,
Yeah.
so if I'm getting rid of the middlemen, you can go straight to the homeowner,
Yeah.
or the contractor. Sometimes even with contractors, this guy that I've been working with these last few weeks on this remodel that he's contracting. It's a small crew, so it's him. He's hands deep, and two other
Okay.
guys, and then me. It's a funny story how we met, but even with him, um, he recognizes that there is a lot of value to my skills as a drywaller, even for
Yeah.
patching.
Sure.
And he was really pleased with the stuff that I've already done for the remodel. There's still more to do, but he's really pleased with that.
Good.
And so he sees the value in it, but at the same time, I'm not exactly sure um, to what extent there is a he wants and I think other contractors might be this way for guys that they really like, that have a great skill set they want to add to their team, um, or that they just like working with, and they kind
Yeah.
of want them to be theirs.
Well, and you show up, you don't look like an idiot. You're wearing a collared shirt right now. I mean, that has value too. It's hard to find people right now that just will show up and like, do put in an honest day.
Right.
That's valuable, you know.
Yeah, and just earlier today, this morning, I did really my first estimate as like my business.
Okay.
Um, so, and maybe I was the first one to show up
I
at a
don't
lot
want
of
to
people
I
he's
don't want to
contacted.
skip I don't want to skip too far ahead.
Okay.
So I'm gonna make a little note here. First possible first job.
Oh yeah, I mean he's already agreed to. I mean verbally
Okay.
agreed to let me come work on this
Well,
patches.
now
So
careful with that. I don't count any chickens until the check. Not only has the check hit the bank, but it has to clear.
cleared.
So,
Okay, fair
yeah.
enough.
So
Hey,
when the check clears, you got the job.
there you go.
Um,
All right.
that's just my gauge.
Well, hey,
So
that's if you
so
don't get
you
paid,
yeah,
you
if
got
you don't get
played.
paid, what are you doing? What are you doing? So you let's back up. You're a
Yeah,
college graduate, correct? So you is that
college
right?
and masters. Yeah.
Okay, and what? So
Yeah.
what'd you get your master's in?
So my bachelor's and masters are both in theology, Christian theology.
Christian theology.
Yeah.
Why Christian theology? You're into religion?
Yeah, you could say that. I am into religion.
I
Uh,
mean, what did
yeah.
you aspire to be like? Is it? I want to say preacher.
Um, Partially. I won't make a short story long. Um, but I wasn't entirely sure that I wanted to do preaching.
Yeah.
But I do like teaching. I like being articulate.
Okay.
I Because I want to be understood and I want other people to gain value from what I have to offer.
Absolutely.
So
Now
whether
wait,
that's for people,
let me stop you really quick. Is cussing, do you get offended by cussing? Because I don't have to cuss. Sometimes I cuss. It's my natural form of talking, but I'll play off of like the other person too. The more somebody else
yeah,
cusses, the more I cuss. Doesn't matter though. Like I can shut it off. How are
I
you around that? And speak freely. How are you around that? Do you get like offended or do you prefer to
I
people don't
don't
cuss? You don't cuss.
I don't get I don't get offended.
You don't get
Um,
offended. Do you
it's
cuss?
Yes, yes
You
I
do.
do, I
Okay.
do,
All right.
yeah.
All right. So your
Sometimes
episode will
words.
be called The Cussing Preacher. Uh,
Okay,
just call it The
that's fine.
Cussing Preacher.
Yeah, that's fine. You can add a tagline for that. That's fine.
So you don't get offended, but you're not so far down the rabbit hole. Because I went to I don't know if you know this, I went to a conservative Christian college in Newberg, Oregon. Very much not like what you would consider the quintessential Christian or anything like that. But we did take literature, the Old Testament, the New Testament.
Okay.
I had to go to chapel twice a week. I mostly went for soccer.
Yeah, I remember
Needless
you
to,
talking about soccer,
yeah,
but I
yeah,
didn't know it was
yeah.
a Christian college.
Yeah, it was a Christian college, like founded by the Quakers, like back in the day. But I was not of that jib, you
Yeah,
know.
you're definitely not a Quaker.
No, you know, I would fall under the like spiritual, not religious category if you were to put me into a category. But I'm very interested in many religions, and I'm interested in the religion conversation.
Hmm.
You know, um, for what it's worth, you know.
Yeah.
But we've had some religious people on the show,
Hmm.
and I like for people that are religious to feel comfortable and to speak freely. Like you know, you won't get any judgment here.
Okay. Well,
And
same here.
even if you're an atheist, like I don't give a shit, you know. So
Yeah. I mean,
like,
just for me, as long as it's not um just profuse and unnecessary, because
yeah,
I think timing is everything.
oh yeah,
Um, so as long as swearing is, situationally appropriate,
yeah,
or it's part of a kind of cultural colloquium, or a kind of colloquial way
yeah.
of
I
speaking,
agree.
then I can tolerate that. And I do
It's
it on the job.
like
I do it on the
music.
job site all the time.
Yeah, like music. Sometimes I like try to throw in a cuss word. Sometimes it works in certain music. Like it'll work. You
Uh-huh.
throw in a damn or a fuck or something, and it'll work. But then sometimes you can tell, like, oh, they're just trying to throw in a cuss word there, and it doesn't really work.
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah, when you smash your hand or your
Yeah,
foot or your shin or
yeah.
you fall off your stilts or which I've done. So I got stilts a couple of weeks ago and I fell the first day. But
Okay.
I was doing pretty well after that. But I smashed my shin and it's still you got the scab and the hump on the shin, the knot.
Okay, so let's start. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, you're good.
I
This is great.
interrupted. It's fascinating. So you not only have bachelor but masters in theology, religion. So
Yeah.
you're an expert. You're an expert. Now
I
with
hope.
the
Yes.
Christian studies, do they focus more on one sort of aspect of religion, or do you get into a lot of different religions in
So
that
it really
field of study?
depends. Yeah, it really depends. So if you go specifically to um, uh, a university for, all right, there's a couple different programs
Sure.
that you can do. So I'll try and kind of sum them up. Um, there are universities that just have like a religion department,
Yeah.
and a lot of those are probably going to be what would be in quotes a secular university, that they're
Okay.
they're historically not tied to any denomination or religion or anything like that, but they have a department that it, a lot of them are tied into like religion and philosophy, so
Yeah.
they'll kind of lump those kinds of programs together, and so that way you can do um, you'll have a lot of offerings in world religions, um, and various streams of philosophy.
Yeah.
And then you'll have your Christian universities that are
Okay.
explicitly
That's what
linked to a denomination or
George Fox was a Christian university. It was like
right,
specific. They had a
right.
good soccer program, but I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole of we'll try to steer it back toward drywall. But you graduated, you're an expert in religion. You're like, I don't really want to do anything with my education. I mean,
Not
I
really.
get,
Actually, I had took a I take took I had taken a
yeah,
job at a small church
okay,
in a little place called San Angelo, Texas,
okay.
and pretty sure none of them are going to be listening to this. So, I mean, I'm not going to speak disparagingly.
I'm gonna email it to
Okay. Uh, but they had hired me to come
because
and
you're at this point you're a
oversee.
heathen. If you're getting into the drywall trade, you're just
Oh
automatically a
yeah,
heathen.
total pagan.
Did you
Um,
listen to the Daniel Osborne episode? I think it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
three. He's
He's pretty lively.
yeah, he's a Christian guy. He's a
Yeah,
yeah, he's like but he's like great.
the
We had a
swear
fun
jar. Yeah,
yeah, we had a swear jar. Yeah, exactly. So go ahead. So you have this you got a job with a church?
yeah. I had a job with a church. Um, that was 2020.
Okay.
So it is in the middle of the pandemic, but since it's the middle of Texas, kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Um,
Pretty liberal over there, yeah.
yeah, no, the exact opposite. Um, so pretty quickly they had opened up services again. Um, people were wearing masks and stuff, which I was fine with. That's it's not a problem. You can do what you want.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
and we were I was 2 months in, and um, they the second elders meeting that we had.
Okay.
It's a small church, so there's only like three elders and me. Um,
Yeah.
and they had come at me pretty hard with stuff complaints that they were hearing. Um,
Ooh, I like this. I like where this is going.
Well, at the time I didn't.
No,
Um,
of
so
course you didn't.
they came at me pretty hard, and
What were the
basically said,
complaints? What did they say? What were you doing, dude? You're running
that
amok. You're running amok over at the
I
church.
I was running amok.
These kids, they're graduating the college. They're coming in here trying to run everything. Tell us what to do.
Yeah, I mean, a lot stuff like that.
Wanting to
And I
bring the internet and like
No, not that
Instagram
far.
pages. Not that far.
No, they were already on Facebook, so it's
Okay.
not a big step for them. But
Okay.
um, you know, one of the things, uh, really the one that I knew it would be a struggle for a while for me to kind of grow out of, because this was my first preaching job. This was my first kind of full time
Yeah.
big boy big boy job, because I
Yeah.
had done my bachelor's and then spent
Okay.
3 years in my master's.
How many years altogether in college? 7?
8.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had spent 8 years. Um,
I call that a shitload.
yeah, yeah, no, it was. Um,
Compared to my year and a half. I was like, I'm
I'm done with this.
gonna go start drywalling. Screw this.
Yeah, no, I mean, I really like school.
Yeah,
And that's probably the thing that really kind of made them wonder whether I was actually a good fit for
sure.
them. I mean, I had come and I had preached for them. I had spoken with them
Okay.
in person. So it's
Okay.
not like they didn't know what they were getting,
Sure.
really. But they
So
felt like
maybe some of the criticism came when you started to preach and it was the content that you were preaching about?
perhaps some of the content, but
Sure.
also the level. I was probably, I say probably, more than likely, definitely a little
Yeah.
too academic. Because I really like academic, kind of high level
Did
academic
they question
discussions.
your interpretation of scripture?
Um, they might have. I don't
They
remember
might
that
have.
coming up as a serious issue. Um, most of it was connected to my level of presentation is too highbrow. Um,
Interesting. They were diplomatic when they came to you, but they were like,
no, they were not
listen,
diplomatic. They came at me really hard.
what the hell?
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
Hey, you know what, Jonathan?
And they fired me 2 weeks later.
They'll get judged for it.
They
The
will, and
bit
I'll get
the
judged for, you know.
the big guy's watching.
No, it's true, and that's the thing that I had to try and remember was like, okay, this
However you want to look at it.
I can't say I can neither confirm nor deny that it is a she.
I'm sort of funny about that. I listen to a lot of Eckhart Tolle. I'm really esoteric
Okay.
when it comes to like spirituality. I love Wayne Dyer. Marianne Williamson, I'm a big fan. She wrote Return to Love. There's a lot of spiritual sort of stuff. I'm a big
Uh-huh.
fan of a lot of Buddhist practices and
Yeah.
also the teachings of Jesus. Like there's a lot to be gleaned from that stuff.
Hmm.
So I think
Definitely.
it's just like the podcast, man. Take what you need, leave the rest, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So
And they
fast
fired
forward, they
just
fired
to
you.
wrap that up. They said, I'm 2 minutes in, we have this meeting. They say something's got to change and it's got to change quick. And then they fire me 2 weeks later because I guess it wasn't quick enough
Sure.
to
Okay.
change. So I hadn't
Fair
even hit
enough.
my 90-day mark and they nixed me.
Bummer.
Yeah. So we moved back to the Fort Worth area,
Wait, you
and
say we, are you married?
I am married with 3 kids.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Um, so we moved back to the Fort Worth area, and shortly thereafter, kind of jumped around different jobs, and then
Yeah.
some family friends of on my wife's side, they had started this franchise with the Patch Boys, and so I got started on with them.
They
And
started the franchise or did they buy into the
no,
franchise?
they had bought into the franchise. They'd been doing
Okay.
it for a few years,
Okay.
and
And it's called the Patch Boys. And this franchise is based on drywall patching primarily.
Yeah, that's the understanding I have. That's
Fascinating.
kind of uh,
I need to look
fit
up
into
these
that
Patch
niche.
Boys.
Yeah, and it just since it is a franchise, you can buy in anywhere.
No, I want to
I
know
don't
who
know where the
started. I want to know who
yeah, I don't
started the
know.
Patch Boys.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a great
I'll
name,
It's good.
great
And
marketing.
also, I mean, as you've heard, a lot of the drywall podcasts pertain to even my own guy is like, hey, Nick, you better pay me well. And, I'm going to be a prima donna and do my own thing because I can go make better money doing patches, and I'm like, he gets to do Fresco Harmony all day, he's got it pretty good. But yeah, it's hard to compete with, a $400 patch. It takes 4 to 6 hours, if you do it
Mhm.
properly, a couple days. There's
Yeah,
good money there if you can find the work.
that's right. And I think uh, for me, I don't mind. One, let me back up. One of the reasons I don't mind working with this contractor that I talked about a little bit ago, um, and some kind of tying together something you had mentioned in doing a larger scale remodel. There's a lot of stability. You kind of know where the work is, um, and there you can depend on going to the same place pretty much every day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with patches, it is not that way.
Mm-mm.
You're going to a new place every single day, and if you have to return the next day, maybe you're there 2 days to patch, and then maybe a couple days
Yeah,
later to paint it if that's in the contract. Whatever you
sure.
guys agree to. Um, so that was one of the things that kind of wore me out with the Patch Boys. Is just constantly going to random places
So
every
you
single
were
day.
working with a couple that had bought into this franchise. Was it a couple like a husband and wife team?
Um, kind of. I mean, the wife did some of the administrative stuff, but I was
Yeah.
mainly working with the husband.
Was it just
And
you and the husband?
no, no. So there was
There was a little team of you guys.
yeah. So his son was on the crew,
Okay.
and then two other guys were pretty steady 1099 work for him.
Okay.
And so I had been on with them for a year. He asked me
And
to
1099, that was like, were you getting hourly or
1099.
were they paying you by the patch?
So that's the thing. So
Oh, yeah.
W2, I was hourly. But then even when I went 1099, it was still hourly. Uh,
Interesting.
so, and that's the thing with, sometimes, and I'm not faulting him for this. I really appreciate the guy. Um,
Sure.
he spent and probably lost money, definitely lost money the first 6 months I was on because I'm just learning.
Yeah.
It's the whole onboarding
So
apprentice.
this is where you cut your teeth with drywall was this patch crew. Great place
Mhm.
to start, by the way. I mean, there's different
Yeah,
schools of thought around that too. I was in the union, I learned like down and dirty, commercial drywall like crazy. But that patch stuff, that's a fantastic place to start. So so the business model, I guess I would have to venture to say didn't really work out for you because you weren't making enough, maybe. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, something kind of going back to earning potential at an hourly wage, even if you bang out 2 jobs a day. They're smaller patches, 12 by 12, one here, and then you drive 30 minutes and bang out another one.
What's your
Even
hourly rate with the patch guys starting out?
so starting out last year, I would think it was when I first came on was 18 an hour,
Okay.
and now I'm up to 27.
That's not bad.
No, it's not. And it was pretty incremental, every uh month, 2 months, a dollar, $2.
Okay.
So over the span, I mean, I know, and this is one of the things that I really appreciate about um, uh, this fellow who owns this local Patch Boys franchise. He he appreciates loyalty
Okay.
and is willing to work with his, well, I say employees, to work with his crew to to work something out.
Sure.
And but even, I realized even as a 1099 with him, I was still getting treated, and he was still expecting me to work like a W-2
Okay.
employee. Which again, I can't fault him for. He's got a margin to meet. He's got jobs that he's scheduling out, that he's estimating, and
But maybe you're
that
looking at like this 1099 as like, well,
he
why
should have
why
a little
don't
more freedom.
I just start my own gig if
Yeah,
I'm working 1099 and I'm doing these patches instead of
right.
making, 6 hours at $27 an hour and having to pay my own tax and do my own administrative work. Well, now you're just running your own business.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I look at it.
Did he make you buy your own insurance?
No, I mean there was tons of perks that he, as whether 1099 or W-2, working with the company, were covered under his business insurance,
Okay.
which is great. I really appreciate that about him. He
So
even
what was the segue from that to the remodel, or is that the same
Okay,
deal?
so no, not the same deal. So a few months ago, I start looking for a trailer. I think I'm thinking to myself, okay, if I am going to start doing more stuff on my own, if I am going to take on patches, I need some kind of mobile storage supplies unit that I can haul around to a job site. And if I need more drywall, or I need a different gauge, if I need 5/8 instead of half inch, or I need 3/8 or a quarter inch, then I've got that in the trailer and I don't have to make a Home Depot run. Because that was one of the things that
Smart.
frustrated me was, um and it's just part of running a crew of 4 guys that are all at different locations. Is he would come and bring, with the Patch Boys, the boss would come and bring materials, and right early in the morning, the first thing, just looking at it, I have an idea of what I need, or I'm low on this for what I've got in my truck. um Tape, screws, caulking, sponges, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then, once you actually cut into the wall, it's like all bets are off. You really don't know what you're getting into until you cut it open, or you start actually trying to put stuff up
Yeah, after you've done
into it.
patches for a little while, you have a better idea, of what it's going to entail.
Right. But some of these houses, these older houses in Fort Worth, um, they're a lot of them are in the historic district. They're protected,
Okay.
so they can't be uh, significantly remodeled unless you're given specific permission, because it's a historic site. So they're
Okay.
they're wanting to protect these homes in these areas because they are old homes. They're old Fort Worth homes,
Yeah.
kind of a classic, um, uh, craftsman style kind of home.
Okay.
And so a lot of them have plaster, um, but the sheetrock that might be up there, it could be quarter inch, it could be 3/8 inch. Hardly any of it is half inch.
Yeah, and plaster
So
repair too. It's good to have those different sizes because sometimes the patch will be, especially if it's plaster, you
right,
know.
you don't know how thick it's going to be.
We deal with that in Albuquerque, the old like Adobe and stuff. You don't
Yeah,
know how thick it's going to be. You want to get that level as close as possible. You don't want it too humped out.
right.
It's harder to disguise the patch.
Yeah. So I mean, I've run into situations before where I'm basically hamstrung for a couple of hours because I can't do anything because I don't have this or that material.
Mm.
Or we get to a certain point and well, I can't do anymore because I don't have this or that.
I'm
So
curious about this Patch Boys franchise. Like, what are they selling? Just the name? And then also, do
yeah,
you know how much they paid for that franchise? It's like a
I
logo.
don't.
It's like a logo and a name.
Yeah, logo name. You're basically paying for the reputation that
What the
that comes
hell?
with it. And I
And
mean,
do they have like a booklet and a model that you're supposed to go by, like McDonald's? Like, okay, you got to wear a Patch Boys shirt when you're on the job. You got to like
yeah. So
put the
we all
logo
went.
on your truck.
We didn't go to the logo on the truck uh
Yeah,
stage, but we were expected to wear a
yeah.
Patch Boys logoed shirt.
They do a
Because
drug.
yeah.
Do they do drug testing?
No, because none of us are strung out. We're all pretty reliable.
Well, that
We
doesn't
show up
matter.
on. It's true. I mean, it's true. I mean, it's speaking for only for myself.
Sure.
You know, I've I've never showed up to the job hungover.
Yeah.
I've showed
I'm
up
just
with
saying, like, drywallers tend to be derelicts. If you're doing like a franchise type, or
oh, I see
that
what you're
type
saying.
of model,
Yeah,
then that model would require drug testing, because you don't want derelicts working with that
yeah,
are on drugs or whatever.
yeah.
I
I don't know
would,
that that is
that's what makes
required.
me curious. If you
Yeah,
didn't have to take a drug test and it wasn't required.
yeah. I mean, there's one guy. He's been in trouble, in and out of jail a couple of times.
Okay.
But he's got kids, and so after a certain point,
Wait,
he's
you're talking about a real drywaller now.
yeah, right, right, right. No, this guy, he's actually worked in pretty much every single trade. Um,
Okay.
he's been a carpenter. Um, uh, he did custom bathrooms for a long time.
Okay.
He worked, I say for a long time. He's only like 35,
Yeah.
38,
It's okay.
but he's 4 or 5 years in each of
Yeah.
those. He spent 4 or 5 years in the oil fields. Um,
Neat.
so I mean, he's got tons of trades experience, and that's one of the
Sure.
reasons why um, the Patch Boys this one anyway, likes to keep him on, because he got to a point where he wised up. He wasn't in trouble. He really is, uh, trying to make everything work for his family because he's got kids,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
That
so
that changes when you have children.
yeah, so he does a lot of um, kind of specialty stuff with the
Okay.
Patch Boys,
All right.
um, uh, remodels, smaller. They're usually smaller, like a bathroom.
Okay.
Um, so we've done several of those. Um,
Let's go back to this transition between
yeah,
the remodel and the Patch Boys. So I guess you're getting to a precipice where you need to jump over or leave the Patch Boys,
yeah,
and instead of like it looking like, oh, I'm going to be branching out on my own, it's looking like, oh, now I'm working for some other asshole, like doing remodel shit, when I'd rather be doing like patchwork for myself. Correct?
all except for the asshole part.
He's a
I
nice
actually really.
guy.
He's a great guy. Yeah, it's
Good.
actually
Okay.
funny. He's a former pastor as well, so he
Huh.
is really
He's
really
sure.
weird story. So I was looking for a trailer,
Yeah.
and I found this one
You
on.
could be called like the Sons of God remodeling or something.
I don't know. Um, uh,
So you guys had a lot in common because of your background in religion, and
right,
he's
right,
like, he's a pastor guy, but he's like, yeah, there ain't no money in church. I'm gonna go do remodels.
right.
And I enjoy doing that type of work. And
Yeah, something like that.
you fall in with him.
Yeah, a little bit. And so I buy this trailer off of him, and so that's how we meet.
What's the
And
size of the trailer, and how much did you get it for? Is it enclosed?
It is enclosed. That was kind of one
Nice.
of the things I was looking for. I wanted it enclosed to basically be a rolling storage unit.
Yeah, I
So I
just
can.
got an enclosed trailer. That's why I'm asking. It's like a
Yeah.
5x7, $1,500. I got a real good deal on it.
Oh, nice. This
Yeah,
one's 5 by 10.
beautiful.
6 foot tall, so
Dual
I can
axle.
stand up pretty good. No, just one.
That's okay.
Yeah. So I can. I wanted to be able to comfortably fit several sheets of sheetrock.
Yeah,
Hang up my drywall sander, my stilts,
that's
anything else I
smart,
would want,
dude. Getting a
plaster.
trailer is smart.
That's what I thought.
That's really like a really smart thing. I mean, I'm 47. I finally got a trailer. Like a lot, Daniel Osborne, he's got a trailer, puts his logo on it.
So you can
If you're
see it three
smart,
miles away.
you can see it 3 miles away. If you're smart, you get a trailer. I guess I've never needed one for Fresco. I don't carry around that much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But they're handy for all kinds of stuff. But for
Yeah.
getting going, like with your own business, and maybe you want to eventually do your own patch business, you get a trailer. That's just a smart move out of the gate.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going is, if I am working by myself for a long time and, I know that I'm going to a patch or some kind of, smaller remodel, they need, 5 sheets hung. Well, I can't carry 5 sheets in my pickup because I have all my gear in there already,
Yeah.
and it's only
You didn't
1,600
want to
foot.
go. Sometimes they do racks. You
Yeah,
didn't want. You
I've
didn't
seen
want to go that
those.
route. I had a rack on my
Not
truck
really.
for a little while. I didn't like it. It's heavy,
Hmm.
and I
I have
just
a
never
bed
used
cover.
it. Okay.
I have a flat top bed cover.
Okay.
So it's pretty inconspicuous. Just rolling down. I don't have a camper on the back. It's just a
Okay.
flat top cover. But I built out a platform so I can slide in a telescoping ladder, like a gorilla ladder, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Goes up to 18 feet.
Yep.
I can have 3 work platforms in there. I can pull
Yep.
it out. I've got
Do
a slide. I've got my compressor, my vacuum
you have a telescoping
pumper.
plank?
No, but that's something I would keep in the trailer, you know?
Yeah. Get
So
yourself one of
bigger,
those.
the bigger stuff, all that can go in the trailer. So if it is a bigger job where I need a platform that I can extend across, 12 feet or something,
Yeah.
then that lives in the trailer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was thinking about, keep your truck as inconspicuous as possible. Um,
Why are you so worried about
and
keeping your truck inconspicuous for thievery?
oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty common around here. I mean, even for trailers, um, I've got 4 different locks on the trailer, uh,
Okay.
and even that I'm not sure
Do you have a
is
wheel?
enough
Do you have a wheel
security.
lock?
Not yet.
People have been telling
I'm
me to get a
slowly
wheel
getting
lock.
those.
Those hitch locks, they'll take it.
Yeah,
Get a wheel. I've heard that from multiple people. Albuquerque sketch too.
yeah,
You know what I did with my DeWalt? Someone busted the back window of my Tacoma out and took my DeWalt. It was in a DeWalt bag. I just have a drill, like a hand
mm-hmm.
drill. I love it. It's a great drill. The next time though, instead of keeping it in the DeWalt bag, I bought this really cheesy bag and I put dust all over it and I spray painted on it. That's what I keep
Yeah,
my DeWalt. Nobody touches it.
yeah.
Like,
No, that's the thing.
or get like a Ryobi, get like a Ryobi bag. Like they won't steal those.
Yeah,
But you could do the same thing with a trailer. Like you could put like on the back of the trailer, you could put like moving, or maybe not moving service, but you could put something that throws them off, like funeral home. Nobody's gonna steal stuff out of a
that's
funeral.
hilarious.
Or
That's so
like
funny.
you could put, like just disguise it so that people don't know
Yeah,
you're a contractor.
no, that's great.
I don't, it just that
Yeah, so
I just thought of that.
that's brilliant, actually. What
Like,
is it?
yeah,
A blind squirrel
Jonathan's
finds a nut every now and then.
Jonathan's funeral service. Yeah, put that on. Nobody's gonna be touching that thing. Or like a church. You could put a church name on the outside of it. Advertise a church. Nobody's
Those
gonna
get
steal
robbed.
from.
Those get
They
robbed all the
do.
time.
Mm,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
This
Because a lot of times
Bibles.
they just live in the parking lot of the church.
They just want the
And
trailer.
yeah, it's the trailer. So unless it's you know tied down and locked down every which way, it's probably going to get pilfered.
Okay, so now we're getting to the present where
Yeah.
Jonathan is like, I got my trailer. I've been through sort of the gamut. We didn't spend too much time on the remodel, the remodel guy, aside from he's a nice guy.
And
And
I think I'm going to keep working with him.
he's cool with you sort of. I think we talked about this on the phone. He's cool with you going away,
Yep.
maybe trying to start your own thing
Hmm.
and working for him at the same time. Like he's like, just, whatever you need to do, I'll be here
Yep.
to support you. Start throwing your hat in the ring as a patch master.
Yep.
Do you have a
That's right.
name? Is it going to be Patch Master?
No, that would be pretty dope though. Um, I did think about that.
Oh
Someone probably already has it, and they probably already have the
yeah.
domain. So,
Yeah. I have to look that up.
but
Patchmaster.com.
yeah. So the name I've settled on, it's pretty easy. Dansby
Yeah.
Drywall Solutions.
What is it?
Dansby's
Dansby's.
Drywall Solutions.
DDS.
Yeah.
There's another DDS that I interviewed.
Oh, really?
I can't think of what it is, but then yeah, Daniel Osborne's is DRR.
Okay.
Uh-huh. And then he's got the I'll get it really quick. He sent me a Yeti one time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'm like, it's got the little drywall blade.
Oh, that's cool.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
he's
that.
good with that stuff. I'm a fan of logos and things like that. Logos and marketing.
Yeah, so
Um,
this is the only way I could fit it on a mug was to have the logo underneath.
See, you got to go to just the
And
acronym, just the DDS.
see, I thought about that, but then they're like, what the hell is
What
DDS?
does DDS stand for? Yeah,
I guess, and then you can explain it or whatnot, but
sure, sure.
yeah.
So Jonathan calls up Nick from the Drywall Podcast. He's like, hey, or
Yeah.
I think, did you message me on Instagram?
No, I sent an email. Old
Email,
school.
old school. Yeah, it's a
Yeah, I
info at
had
Fresco Harmony. So also, by the way, if you're out there and you do want to get a hold of me, info at frescoharmony.com. That's a great way. I check that email all the time. I'd love to hear from you. If you have questions, if you'd like to be on the Drywall Podcast, just like Jonathan. You didn't necessarily want to be on the Drywall Podcast, but I was like, oh, this is an interesting story. And I'm curious about the questions that one might have if they're wanting to branch out on their own,
mhm.
and how, I can possibly be of help to you. So, I mean, we could start there. Kind of
Yeah.
where our phone call actually started was
Yeah.
you calling and wanting some advice or information or whatever. So
Mhm.
shoot, man.
Yeah. Can you give me just 1 second? I left my question list in another room.
I like it. A question list.
Yeah.
Topics. Topics for branching out on your own. Not that I am an
Yeah.
expert, but I will do my best.
Yeah. Um, so one of the things I was interested in, um, if okay, so I'm thinking about trying to get out on my own. Um, in some genuine respects, patch guys, handymen are a dime a dozen. Um, so I'm trying to think through what I could offer that would be unique, that would put me in a niche, um, some kind of specialty offering. And when I was thinking through, is okay, let's focus on quality work and professional service. Be as
Okay.
professional as you can possibly be. Do as good a work as you possibly can,
Yeah.
and that'll pay for itself.
Show up when you say you're going to show up. That's a huge one.
Right.
Those are all good ethical values to have going in. That's not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily going to get you work.
Right.
When I started out, it was about like I had no clue how to get the work, but I wasn't just doing patching, I was just doing Fresco Harmony. So
Right.
that was a
Which was
different model. And I mean, I was like, oh, I can go make your walls look awesome. Like nobody's doing that.
right. And that's when I first started listening to the podcast. The more I kept hearing about Fresco Harmony, because I had never
Yeah.
heard of it until 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, whenever I started listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking about it, and it's like, I think I could do that.
Of
So
course.
so
Yeah.
one of the things that I think kind of prompted me to get in touch with you was um, starting your own business, getting going,
Yeah.
and then specifically for me, Fresco Harmony or something like it
Sure.
um, could really be uh, my specialty offering for
Absolutely. And it
you
doesn't
know
have to be just Fresco Harmony. I mean, Fresco Harmony is a good gateway drug to doing specialty wall finishes.
right.
It's affordable and fast. You can learn it quickly. You don't have to sell the farm. You don't have to go to some expensive training. You can just
Hmm.
get a free sample pack of Fresco Harmony, make a sample, and then go from there. And I walk people down that path of sales. I just had a sales phone call this morning prior to this podcast with Curtis Fow.
Oh yeah.
And we were just talking about that. We were just talking about he's made some samples. He's all jazzed about it. He likes it. He wants to go get some colors from CSR. And the whole conversation was like sales. Like, okay,
Yeah.
do I burnish it? Do I do this? Do I do that? And, because without sales, what good is it? That said, I do have other people like Chad Hesher who started out doing Fresco Harmony, but now they do all these other beautiful plaster techniques. And that's good too. I don't do other plaster techniques because I'm biased to Fresco Harmony, and that's just what I sell.
Right.
But I think even with plaster, the plaster people that are listening, like, do Fresco Harmony. Offer this. Here's $2 for Fresco Harmony. Here's $4 for Marmarino. Here's $6 for traditional red top plaster. Whatever, however you want to structure it, you can offer different things. Chad's doing this stuff called Portillo, and he's not resistant to doing like Tadillac. And I've learned about all these new, possibilities with wall finishes and things like that. I don't have the bandwidth to try everything because I think
Sure.
with each new system, you're going to go down a rabbit hole of learning that system, and there's the inherent challenges. Whereas I think Fresco Harmony squeezes that learning curve down very quickly because you can just go over your existing textured surface. You guys have texture in Fort Worth. I mean,
Yeah,
just smoothing out walls, like here in Albuquerque, just smoothing out walls. Like let's say I go into a job and I'm doing a patch, and this came up with Curtis this morning, and it's like, okay, I got this giant patch or water damage. The whole lower section of this house is like screwed. Not so you have to fix that patch. You have to blend the texture and you have to paint. You're not just going to paint the lower wall. You got to repaint the whole room to make it look, as you said, you want to be professional. You want it to look as good as possible. So you got to go corner to corner. You have to paint the whole room. Well, now instead of painting the whole room, hey, for 2,000 extra, you could do Fresco Harmony and you don't have to paint.
House. Yeah, exactly.
So that's just a different sales possibility, and it gives you something extra to add on as a caveat. You got to be selling it though. You got to have 4 samples in your truck. You got to have color charts. And there's a process. You would start by getting a sample pack, doing a wall in your house, and then going from there, making a sample, ordering 4 different colors or whatever, making 4 different samples, and then going from there.
Yep.
But absolutely a unique sales dynamic that you could add on to a drywall patching model. But I think the drywall patching model by itself is fantastic.
Yeah.
Specifically, all you need is work. You've got a name, maybe you have insurance, and you've got your business license. You have all the things that you need to run a business. You just need the work. And so then the question becomes, okay, some people find it very easily. They're good at networking. They can get jobs easily. I talked to Sean Ramsden up in Canada. He was just able to get work. Some dudes are like that. If you're like me, it was more of a challenge. I didn't know anybody in Albuquerque. And so I had to go through these various channels to find work, especially with Fresco Harmony. And a couple of those channels are, and I've heard this before, someone say, dude, go call the plumbers. Call all the plumbers in your area and tell them you're a patch guy. Plumbers are always cutting holes into walls,
Plumbers, electricians.
Yeah. Like I would go into Google and call all those guys and be like, hey, I am the newest, best patch person in the Fort Worth area. I have references. Here's a couple of pictures of my work. Man, if you ever need a affordable, awesome patch guy that shows up, and because that makes them look good. That makes the plumber look good. They don't want to deal with a drywall patch. They'll throw it to you. You've got sort of a price structure, a size structure. Okay, minimum $200. And you can have the plumber just farm you out. Another thing is home shows. I'm a big believer, a proponent of home shows. So what we're talking about is sales and marketing. That's the conversation, though, honestly.
At home shows?
All of it. Calling plumbers, calling electricians, your logo, your social media presence, a website. I mean, I think people are stupid to not have websites.
Yeah, I've got one up.
Yeah. I mean, even if you don't, you're busy, you're off the hook or whatever, it's just a place where they can go. Now, all of a sudden, even if you're a drywaller and you're plenty busy and you want to market Fresco Harmony, boom, you start throwing photos up on your website. Mm-hmm. Done. And if you're good, we'll give you a certified applicator status. If you do five jobs or whatever, I'll give you the stamp of approval. You can use my website, to sell it. I'm always happy to help people sell it however they need to. Yeah.
Sweet.
And then you're on Instagram, Facebook, all of those platforms. How are you doing there? Okay.
No, I'm not.
That's
on
all right.
any of those. Yeah.
Why?
Kind of what you were saying earlier with the all these different plastering techniques or finishing techniques. All of them require their own little rabbit hole of doom. So going down this rabbit hole, you got to learn all the little things for Instagram, and then all the little things for Facebook. So I think if I'm going to take any steps, it would probably be Facebook to start, and then for pictures specifically, I might do Instagram, but it would probably all be under my business name. I don't want a personal one. Not really.
I think you have to have a personal one, and then from your personal one, you start a business page. But my advice would be just do your name. All they're going to request is your name and email. You could have your phone number. I don't even put like I'm married. You don't have to put you're married, how many kids, like your favorite color, like none of that stuff. Just have your name, generic page. And you can post pictures of your family or whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's a good way for me to keep in touch with my family, and I don't care what, I'm marketing a product too, so I need to be out there on social media. But then when you start your business page, then that's a great venue for people to actually go look at your work as well. Facebook's great because of the groups. Now, with the groups, you can go to there's the Drywall Mentors page. And that is it's like a new person friendly page where you can ask square footage prices. If you're jumping out and you're kind of a newbie, you can ask questions without these guys like really
ripping on you,
ripping into you. And they will on some of the other platforms, but there's other great pages such as Drywall Junkies is great. They're hardcore, but it's a great page. There's also Drywall Magazine, Drywall Hand Finishers, and Drywallers Worldwide. Those are all ones that I've, frequented, and they're great pages. Is there any other questions on your list that were unique that we didn't cover?
Well, kind of related to that, like associations for drywall associations. I've heard you mention some of them.
Yeah.
AWCI. Is that right?
That is a national group, Association of Walls and Ceilings Industry. I think that's what it is. And so that's like a national group that is more industry professional oriented. In your area, a really good move would be to, and this is also if you wanted bigger jobs, if you wanted to tackle like finishing a house. Like, because you could throw your hat in the ring for that. Now all of a sudden you start playing with the tools and stuff. That's a lot of fun, a lot more work, but you can make more cheddar. And you're at one job longer. Like It's Your Man Cam, he's blowing out whole houses. He's even hanging them and stuff. Can-Am Tools is throwing tools at him. He knows how to run the tools. For that type of direction, you would probably want to get with somebody and learn. Get with somebody in the Fort Worth area and hang out with a drywall company for a few months and learn the tools and be like, hey, I'm doing patches. I know my way around a pan and knife. I want to work with you for X amount of time and learn. And maybe, in the future I could sub for you or whatever. But the Home Builders Association in your area, Fort Worth Home Builders Association, is going to get you connected with builders and remodelers in your area. And also fantastic place to market, Fresco Harmony. Home builders are always looking for specialty wall finishes that are affordable and easy to work with. And that's how it took me 8 years. So I wish somebody would have given me that pearl of wisdom. When I started out, I don't know why it took me that long. We were actually up for award. Fresco Harmony was up for an award for most innovative product with the Home Builders Association. And the builder, we had done a whole house or whatever, and the builder was like, yeah, you should become a member. You're getting an award. I'm like, I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, a little late for this. Thanks, pal.
Yeah. And then I became a member, and now we were just featured in, I met Sun Mountain Construction. There's posts, we were featured in Sukasa magazine in the feature home. His drywaller, Elite Drywall, has done like several homes for that builder and other builders in Fresco Harmony. Nice. And we've sold them all the products. So that's awesome. That was all due to the Home Builders Association. I've made money doing projects for builders specifically through the Home Builders Association. Nice. So that association alone would be, there's networking. There's a networking association here called 1 Million Cups, where you can go and give a presentation about your business. I think there's probably a 1 Million Cups affiliation in Fort Worth. I'd be surprised if there wasn't. And you could actually go and give a presentation with other entrepreneurs about your business and get feedback from other entrepreneurs in your area. Fantastic networking, though. Fantastic place to network. And now you have all these people. Realtors would be another big one, because houses are going on the market. They need a fireplace or an accent wall. And they've always patches, dude. Somebody moves out, house needs it, the guy's pissed off at his wife. He goes through and punches 20 holes in the wall. You got Kyle's like all over the place punching holes. They need door handles. It doesn't have to be an angry husband. It could be an angry wife too. You
Yeah.
never know.
No, that's true. Yeah, I had
It
thought about realtors.
yeah.
I just hadn't
Realtors are great and they know everybody.
building a work portfolio. Um, associations, the Home Builders
Yeah.
Association, networking with realtors,
That
networking with
portfolio,
electricians.
that portfolio will come as you get jobs.
Sure.
The main thing
Yeah.
is to find the
Try and
jobs.
find the jobs.
Get the
Yeah.
jobs. You'll develop a reputation.
Right.
That's your portfolio. I always thought I needed this like book that I could show people. Look at all these jobs I've done. The reality is what sells Fresco is 21 by 16-inch sample boards and that color chart and me. I'm like, dude, check this out. We can go over your existing painted textured wall in 3 steps. It's 250, $3, 350 a square foot. This room, we could finish it for $2,000. You're going to be paying maybe, 1,200 more than painting, and it's going to look amazing. Having confidence in yourself and selling it and believing it. I don't just tell people I think their home's going to look amazing to sell the product. I truly feel like I won't live in a house that doesn't have Fresco Harmony. It's like I feel strongly about it. Like the environment in which we surround ourselves is really important to our well-being. And people are content to fucking throw shitty ass texture and paint on the wall. It blows my mind.
Yeah. No,
You
I hear
know,
you.
nobody's content with laminate countertops anymore. They got to have granite. You know,
Not in
well,
these trend homes.
why are walls any different? You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I
but
mean, we're talking about custom homes.
you'll have $1 million home with shitty texture
Yeah,
and paint,
I know.
and
I know.
they'll have a $10,000 front door.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. It's a
Yeah.
paradigm shift. You
No,
know,
yeah, you're right. It is.
walls consume 85% of the visual space in your home. And these are all things I had to learn. Like these are all sales gems. When I go in, I'm
Right.
like, why wouldn't you do Fresco Harmony? You're going to pay for paint, you know?
Right.
We just did
So I,
a huge job where they were, it was they had already gotten a bid to smooth out all the walls level 5 and paint. And Fresco Harmony, I made money on that job. I made good money. Fresco Harmony came in $2,000 under that bid.
yeah, no brainer.
They were happy. It's a no brainer. They were happy as hell to find me.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense.
Um,
I actually, so it's funny. I've actually
yeah.
already tried to sell Fresco Harmony a little bit. There was the same contractor that I was working for.
Okay.
He's got a even bigger job coming up.
Okay.
It's a huge add-on and remodel upstairs.
Okay.
And downstairs they're doing some more remodeling, and the existing texture is a hand trowel
Okay.
kind of texture. And when I pitched it to him, I said, it's going to come in cheaper than finishing with this is going to come in cheaper than finishing and painting.
Okay.
And I told her the name, and she said, I'll have to think about that. I told him it was colored, so that there is no need for paint. But they had a question, and I did want to
That's where if you busted out a sample and been like, this is what it looks like,
right,
and they can touch
that's
it.
the only thing I didn't have.
Key.
Yeah. No, it's so true.
And I'm happy too to send you a sample pack if I haven't already. Like I'll send you the link, and you just fill out your information where to send it, and that's available too to anybody listening. If you haven't tried Fresco Harmony, we'll send you a free color pack. It's Merriman beige. You get a color chart, color pack, and a little half pint of sealer to do like 50 square feet, so you can make a sample and try it out.
Yeah. So the question they had, I told them it was the 2 layers of colored mud.
Mm-hmm.
So it requires a lot less finishing on the front end because you're doing the 2 layers, the 2 skim coats, and then you're finishing it with the it's still acrylic, right? An acrylic.
Yeah,
Sealer.
it's a clear acrylic, water-based, so it's very green, although we haven't had it green tested. The colors are water-based and the sealer is water-based, and then the mud is just gypsum, joint compound.
Right. So I told him it was sealed with the acrylic, water-based acrylic
Yeah.
sealer. But they had the question, if at some point later on down the line they wanted to paint over it, can you
Yeah.
just paint over that?
Yeah, it's the most common question. And of course you
Oh,
can.
okay.
But
Okay.
here's my standard answer is you won't want to. You'll want to have Jonathan come back and reskim it, which you can do too. So many times we'll go back to existing jobs that are like 7, 10, 15 years old. We'll reskim walls that we've already done in Fresco Harmony. So I've been doing it 18 years now. So, I've got jobs that are old that get beat up and we go and, you know, fix them
So
up.
how, yeah, so yeah, you said one more question. This is like three
That's
over the
okay.
line. So how durable would you say Fresco Harmony is?
I tell people it's comparable to like a satin paint. It's not bulletproof, but it's easy enough to reskim a wall if you have to. Lighter colors patch better than darker colors. Patching's a bitch no matter what if you're doing a multicolored surface. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I have a 7-year-old. We did Fresco Harmony throughout our house. We have a dog. The walls are beat to hell. Regardless of, their walls are going to get beat up, regardless of, the damage that and there's probably some skimming that I need to do, that I could do. I haven't done yet. I'm not worried about it. Regardless of all that, I would way rather have this finish in a home than texture and paint. Like and even if it's plaster, it's going to get beat to hell. Get the next plaster restaurant you're in, check out the walls. They're beat up,
Yeah.
It's like they get beat up. And what are you going to do then? You got
Yeah,
expensive,
exactly.
durable plaster that's all beat up. Well, how do you fix that shit? You can't. It's a nightmare. At least with this, I could skim over it in the same color and then seal it,
Right. No, that's
So
awesome.
those are just standard answers that
Mhm.
I have to field all the time.
Right.
Jonathan
That's great.
Dansby, the great Jonathan Dansby of Fort Worth, Texas. Tell me your business. DDS,
Yeah.
Dansby Drywall Services.
Solutions. Dansby's
Solution.
Drywall
I'm gonna write
Solutions.
that down.
Yeah. I had thought about services, but I like the the idea of me offering a solution. Kind of going to this basic problem solution storyboard kind of idea.
Yeah,
You have a problem, I have a solution. Oh, it happens to be in drywall. I have drywall solutions.
yeah. Well, my
So
favorite. Sorry, go ahead.
no, that was it. Go ahead.
My favorite part of the show, your pearl of wisdom, especially from a theologian like yourself.
Blue
It's
collar
got to be
influencer.
deep and rich, buddy.
I don't know about that. uh, you know, I think a couple things for me are really important.
Yeah,
Be professional, do good work, uh, clean your tools.
I
Uh,
love it. Oh yeah.
I I'm people give me a hard time for how clean I keep my tools.
Okay.
But if you keep your tools clean, you can do good work, and if you do good work, you make good money. Um,
Yeah.
so I think some of the things.
I have a couple things about that clean tool thing. Not everybody people can do good work and have really messy tools. I've seen it. But I used to feel the same way. I'm a clean tool guy. I think I think it translates to the quality of the work, and then just learning how to work and keep your tools clean
Yeah.
from an artistic standpoint. I think it's important, but yeah, it's a good one. That's a good one. Clean tools.
Yep. Yep.
Cool. Well,
And
thank you so much for being on the Drywall podcast today.
thanks for having me.
Yeah. This was fun, and I hope you learned a bunch. And it's so cool to connect with you guys, and especially somebody sort of branching into this drywall world. It's cool to get your perspective. And also, if you're out there listening and you have advice for Jonathan that you would like to get to him, you can email me at info@frescoharmony.com, or you could probably get in touch with Jonathan. What's a good way that they could get a hold of you directly?
You can just send one to my business email, which is jonathan@dansbysdrywallsolutions.com.
Excellent.
It's Jonathan. There's a bunch of different ways to spell Jonathan.
Yeah, there is. I noted that.
Right. Yeah. Jonathan at Dansby's Drywall Solutions, and Dansby's is Dansby with an S.
With an S.
Yeah, Dansby's Drywall Solutions. So if you just do Dansby Drywall Solutions, you will not find me. It has to be Dansby's with a S after Dansby.
Oh, I tell you what, that DDS would sure shorten up your email quite a bit.
It would, but I already got the domain, so kind of started it.
Awesome talking to you, Jonathan.
Probably do some logos with it or something.
Yeah. Well, we'll follow your path, and keep in touch. I will. I'll send you a link for that sample pack, and we'll go from there, man.
Yeah, hope to come down to Albuquerque and meet the crew.
Yeah, great. Anytime. We're ripping busy right now. You come down and work for a week. I'll put you to work.
Yeah, I know you will.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon, man. Have a good day.
Okay, thanks.
All right, bye. Special thanks to Jonathan Dansby for being with us on the Drywall Podcast today. I look forward to seeing you flourish in this beautiful industry we call drywall. The Drywall Podcast can be listened to every Friday with a new episode on your favorite platforms such as Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and also YouTube. Tune in next week when we have Daniel Atkinson from Bracknell, England, our second English guest to be on the Drywall Podcast. Special thanks to TechDry Tool for sponsoring the month of May on the Drywall Podcast. TechDry Tools is USA designed, manufactured, and assembled in Omaha, Nebraska. Their lock design allows you to choose from 3 different size blades that fit right into your pocket. The Drywall Podcast is also brought to you by Fresco Harmony, making walls better since 2004. Guests of the Drywall Podcast will receive a sweet swag bucket from our friends over at CSR. You can find just about everything you need at csrbuilding.com. Thank you so much for joining the Drywall Podcast today. I really appreciate it. And remember, keep drywalling.